Hi guys! So now that the Kickstarter is done and the final rewards are almost delivered, all the print orders, I make a video talking about the 5 biggest things I learned from it. So let's get right to it. These are in no particular order, by the way. They're just like all important. But number 1, advertise to those who care. I know it sounds really silly and like it's fine to like let family and friends know like, hey, I'm doing this thing. But like my family and friends don't care at all about Dungeons and Dragons or any tabletop games, and that's fine. I shared a post about it just to be like, hey, look at what I'm doing. Mainly because I'm not getting an engineering job and they're like, what are you doing? It's like, look, it's okay, I'm doing things. But no, like I have a really good presence. That sounds not humble. Anyway, in the Facebook group, the Tabletop 3D Printing Guild, super awesome. They really helped like raise me as an artist, I feel like. Same with the subreddit Printed Minis. So I shared there to either one of those and to my Patreon because these people want to see what I'm doing. And that was it. I didn't spend any money on advertising anywhere because it's really not worth it. I have done some tests with it, only like $5 at a time, and they were given to me on Facebook because they're like, come to us and spend money on ads. I'm not saying they don't work, but like proportionally not really. Your best bet is just to make more engaging content. Imagine that. But yeah, and the best thing, the advertising that happen for you is word of mouth. I take that back. I didn't advertise to the Facebook community. A very good friend of mine advertised for me because I was too awkward to, because they have supported me so much. I wasn't just like, okay guys, it's money time. Didn't say anything at all instead. But later on I did post updates there and I'm like, I need to get out of my head. Moving on. 2, don't overcommit. So my initial goal was $100 and I went to 13,000. So a lot of people, that's rude, not a lot of people, but it was reasonable for people to think that I was gonna do more stretch goals based on how much money that I made. But if I I was doing stretch goals every $25 initially, and then every $200. So I topped out at like 5,000. So you'd think if once I made it to 13,000, I would have like twice as many models, but the reality was I already had 50 different models I committed to. And I didn't sculpt these beforehand. I literally only started like 2 weeks before the campaign launched. And I did that because I wanted the stretch goals to be modeled only if funded. That's like the whole point of it. Because I was really worried about it not being funded and me like just holding on to stretch goals that I had made, but then I couldn't share them because they weren't funded. You get the point. So yeah, do not overcommit. I wanted to do more stretch goals, but I knew that would kill me. So I decided to make the better choice and be like, 50 is a nice round number. We're staying with 50. 3, ignore rude comments. This one blew my mind. I understand people are like super rude, that's fine. But people will give you money on Kickstarter just to leave rude comments. This just blew my mind. Like they only left like $1, but like still, man. I just ignored them. They weren't just like, oh, go die. It was like really specific stuff of like, actually this animal you model looks like this in the wild. I'm just like, stop. And I see a lot of other Kickstarters that are more professional than mine was. They have a great PR presence. So they placate these jerks to be like, oh, your opinion matters. Your opinion doesn't matter. If you're a jerk, you're a jerk. I don't want to hear it from you. I highly recommend that you're the same way. If you're a small creator or a small business, you do not have time. They really just want to talk and talk and talk and talk. They're not all trolls, but they're all talkative, let me tell you. So just ignore them. Who cares? Move on. Now, if someone's asking a question, and they're like, hey, why didn't you do this? That's worth answering. You can usually tell that they're not being jerks. So yeah, I'm pretty pragmatic and like borderline blunt, rude. You can be more friendly than me, obviously, but I recommend having that business approach of like, is this worth my time? If I respond to all those comments that I was like, it'd probably been like an hour of my time. That could have been a very, very good progress through like the first half of a model. Time is money. Moving on. 4, keep sight of your goals. So it's very easy to become money oriented with it. I mean, I was just like blown away. I was like 3,000, 5,000, 7,000. It's just like never ending, right? But I never made it about the money. I mean, again, my goal was $100. Obviously, it's not like my focus. My main focus was 1, learning how to sculpt animals. I wanted to learn animal anatomy to get better at creature anatomy. Very closely related. I'll make a video about that at some point. And other than that, I want to share models with the community for free. That's what I've been doing since the get-go. And if I stopped doing that, it'd probably be a shame, That's the whole point of this. So keep sight of your goals. Try not to get too money obsessed. because our brains are so naturally conditioned to like luxury and success. It sounds really silly. Look it up. There's lots of cool studies about it. To summarize it though, the jump between $0 to 1,000 was way more exciting for me than the jump to 1,000 to 3,000, which is crazy because that's double the money increase. It's just how our brains are. It doesn't mean that you can't still appreciate it, but it's not as exciting as it is. So that's why having monetary goals isn't the best motivator, because you kind of become sensitized. Same way that like Instagram influencers never think they have enough likes or enough comments, and it's all seems kind of meaningless to them because they're wrapped up in numbers as opposed to what their original goals were. Now, 5, clarity of presentation. I honestly think the biggest reason why Kickstarter was so successful was because the presentation was clear. I love Kickstarters that have an awesome backstory. Like when I was 2, I watched my dad play his first game. Like, it's great, but no one cares. They will care. Not to be totally rude about it, but they're just not gonna care. Initially, people looking at Kickstarter page are probably a stranger. They know nothing about you. The best thing to do is just show them what are they gonna get for how much. I mean, I know it's not supposed to be a storefront, it's crowdfund raising. I said that really weird. Anyway, but they're not gonna be naturally invested to it. And for you to expect that is a little assuming. So that's why for me, I have a little blurb about what I'm doing, but I get really to the point very quickly, and it's not really to the point very quickly, where it's like, here are pictures of all my core models, all my stretch goals, all in a line, real simple. Then I don't have to dig around. There's been so many Kickstarters that I've almost supported, but they show me like 50 to 60% of what I'm getting, and I'm like, well, what else is there? Like, I want to see those Dragonborn extras, or like, what does the, like, I don't know, scatter train look like? I don't want you to just list it in words, I want to see it. Obviously for stretch goals, I'm a little more lenient because they haven't been made yet usually, but if you're running a Kickstarter campaign, it sounds really obvious, let them know what they're getting. And very quickly, if anything, I'd recommend at the bottom to have a little blurb like, hey, this is how I got started. You know what I mean? Like, this is what it means to me. People will care, just not initially. They're not invested in it at that moment. I mean, can you imagine if we just walked around everything we saw and just like, oh, I'm so emotionally invested in that. It's exhausting, you know? But those are my main 5 tips. Again, have fun with it. I know usually it's always like a business venture, but whatever your goals were, just don't lose sight of those. And yeah, if you do that, I think you'll do great, you know? And if not, just keep trying it and changing things until it works. You can always message me, and I love giving tips about how I did it and how I stayed out of my own head towards the end, but I'm like, I have so much to do. Till next time.